We are always questioning if Vessi is a marketing brand or if it's a product brand. And there is an interesting balance, because without the product, I don't think we could be very far. But without the marketing, we wouldn't be there either. So there is always that, and it's not a struggle. It's just an interaction between marketing and product, trying to create concepts kind of together.
Like, we started selling this product out of the trunk of our cars.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Inventory management is about balance.
Get the product out. That's number one.
I've always preached sustainable growth.
So we just started building community.
Look at the data.
Product development is everything.
Yeah, we say we're a brick, click, and pop.
But you have to love what you do.
Streaming here from live from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I just showed our panelists Cassandra and Gabriel and Ivana that it's snowing down like crazy. So we're here in the Arctic North. We don't have our Vessi shoes on. We probably should have them on so they could be a little bit waterproof. But yeah, keep popping in the chat. Tell us where you're calling from. It's kind of exciting to hear. Ivana, did I cut you off there?
Yeah, but it's okay. I was just reading where everybody's from. It was so nice to see everybody tuning in from all over North America. We've got a couple people from Chicago here as well. Like I said, there's Joellen is saying her and her husband are big fans. They've been both wearing them the whole weekend. So there you go. Got some fans in here. So nice. I'm sure Joellen already knows how awesome the shoes are.
Awesome. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to jump right into it now. This morning, I was driving in this snowstorm on my way to our office, and I got a call from Ivana, and she said, "You're not going to believe this. You're going to love this." Well, Gabriel, who is the growth director at Vessi, and he's going to be coming on and sharing his insane amounts of wisdom with us fairly soon. She said, Gabriel is going to give away a pair of Vessi shoes. So we got really excited about that. We sent out an email. Maybe some of you got that email. We sent it out all over the place. So that's going to happen today. We're going to be giving away a pair of Vessi shoes. If you have not heard of Vessi Footwear, you may be living under a rock, is kind of what I've been saying all day. It's probably one of the fastest growing brands, I would say, in Canada. Certainly a fastest growing footwear brand in Canada. So let's jump into it. We're going to be talking about BFCM strategies. Really, really, really thankful to have you here today, Gabriel. I know how busy you are. You guys are just doing so much marketing. I see your ads all over the place. And you're kind of like the person who's doing that. So we just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for coming today, taking the time out of your day and sharing some of your wisdom.
Come on, you're very welcome. Happy to be here.
And also, we're gonna be joined by Ivana. So Ivana is my coworker who is saying hello here and there. You've probably all seen her in the Merchant Mastery group. And we are also joined by our good friend Cassandra Ratcliffe at Shopify. We've been doing a lot of local initiatives in the Vancouver area with Cassandra. So Cassandra, thank you so much for joining us as well.
Thank you for having us. It's so nice. And every time we see like people coming in on the Zoom chat, I picture people like opening the door and like physically coming into a space. One day we'll be able to do that again. Yeah, till then, sure. This is great.
Yeah, and you said you're a big snow lover, right, Cassandra? Like you could come hang out in Edmonton.
Yeah, I would be totally fine with it. Whistler got snow last night, and I'm just about 45 minutes south of Whistler, and so we're just getting rain. And I'm like, oh, it would be nice if it was snow, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think Ivana was saying earlier, we had like the romantic kind of snow right now, where it's that first like novel, the experience of memories and childhood, and then it gets old after.
It's that initial magical moment, and that lasts like an hour, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be here until May. But.
Awesome. So if anybody along the way, you have any questions at all, pop them into the chat. I think the chat's probably the best place. We do have a Q&A area, but I think it's probably easier if everybody could just see your question. If you're feeling a little shy about your question, go ahead. Q&A's there. We'll get the notification. And then, yeah, we've got a lot of people, a lot of Vessi fans here. Everyone, the weekend is the new line from Vessi. I should have been more clear. Yeah, very excited. Thanks for joining us, Joellen.
Gabriel, you don't even have to market yourself. They're doing it in the chat.
Yeah. Right there. Thanks, Joellen.
Excellent. So let's jump into it. I mean, Gabriel, you said, I'm just going to ask you, like you said, it's a lot to like even take time out of the day to do a call. We're so grateful that you did that. What is your day? What are we pulling you away from right now?
So a few different things. As now the team is fully remote, there are so many calls and things in terms of alignment that we have to work on. And the partners, we have partners all over the world with different time zones and trying to keep them. And right now, I feel every partner or every agency, I'd say, is also exploding with so much about BFCM. So my job is to make sure I'll keep us top of mind, like I keep them on their toes. That is basically what it is. So working on that, making sure they understand what are the offers we're going to run, that everything we're trying to set up now, because there is so much prep that I'm sure you're going to talk about that, but just that exercise and trying to make them understand the why and not only executing has been the core piece of my work. So you understand why I'm doing this, right? That is what I'm trying to achieve in two months from now, or a month from now, a week from now. So my week, or even my days, is basically on the phone, explaining, strategizing, and executing. At the end of the day, I'll turn off my laptop around, or at least I stop calls around 4 or 5, and then we're going to work 3-4 hours on the execution portion. There are a lot of the things are still on my plate on that side. And there is so much that, because we know the ins and outs of the business, there is so much opportunity on knowing that and trying to coordinate things between different apps, between different platforms, and using that data to leverage in other places. That is what a lot of what I do.
And like, how quickly did that, like, because I know you've been with Vessi from like day 1 or day 2 or day 3,
one.
like really early, right, day one. So here you are now, like a data scientist, and all these things are happening. How quickly did that change? And this might be a good opportunity just to explain. I know I'm so excited to hear what you're up to, but maybe just explain what the company is, like what separates your shoes, and like how quickly did your marketing activities change from then to today?
Well, it has been changing tremendously since day one, I would say. Initially, when the concept came to our hands, Andy, Tony, and Michaela, the 3 co-founders, I was working already with Tony and Michaela in a different project. And we saw the shoes, we met Andy, we got in love with the technology, we polished the shoe, we launched a few ads as an MVP to see if we were getting any traction and people were interested basically on the concept. And even that was previous, like before Kickstarter yet. So we launched, I got a few leads under the 20 cents, and that is usually a flag. If there is something here that I can get leads so cheap, there is something there. And it got traction. I think we spent, but of course, I'm talking about Facebook 4 years ago or 3 years and a half ago, different game. And we got a lot of traction at $50 on the ads. And then, okay, we have something here. So I was the media buyer for that. And then we already had experience with Kickstarter, running different projects. We ran the first one for Vessi. We hit 1.2 million USD there. Right there, first day we noticed, okay, there is more than validation here. There is more than a product. There is something else. And we started noticing a huge community. And we're just remembering, we're a team of 4, the 3 founders and myself. And Andy, Michaela answering Kickstarter comments over and over, and realizing, okay, we also have a community very interested in what we're doing. So that grew. We launched a second Kickstarter a couple months after we delivered the first batch. That went to 1.5 million. So we brought in new shoes based on the feedback we got from the first. People wanted a few different things. We were able to improve the technology. And the company, from that point on, we realized, okay, it's not even just a product, it's actually a brand. And we have an opportunity here. I was working part-time for Vessi. Vessi wasn't even a huge brand yet. We're doing this. I was head of digital in a different place, CRM, completely different game, SaaS kind of vibe. But things started growing. The community we started building around us, and Vancouver is a big part of this. It rains so much here. You guys all know how Vancouver is famous for the rain. So the product on its own is very compelling to the user or to the Vancouver base. And that started growing exponentially. We did our first Black Friday. That was terrible in terms of organization, planning. That was my first one 3 years ago with Vessi. And what was horrible was a product launch. We were trying, drop the price, increase the price, try to use different platforms, landing pages, was clumsy, but it worked. We saw good results. And since then, we started growing as a team and evolving. My role was evolving. Instead of running ads myself, starting bringing partners. Now we're bringing a few people in-house and helping me coordinate things. And by any means, I'm a data science. I'm a marketer. So there is so much. And when you talk to real data science, they know their thing. It's not my case. I feel I know the North Star. But if you ask me about the kinks of the ins and outs, I kind of know, but don't ask me exactly about the numbers. So my role has evolved in this sense, about coordinating more, being able, as we grow now, we're a team of 20, 22. So as we grow as a team, being able to be that bridge between marketing and the teams, and that is one of the hacks I would say, I would like to say for Black Friday. I learned from Black Friday 1, Black Friday 2, the difference between alignment. And alignment is a very simple thing, but making sure all our stakeholders, I'm talking about the internal ones, that should be the obvious ones, but I had to learn that in the hard way. Telling CS, telling logistics, telling finance, there sometimes just one person in each one, that, hey, that is what is gonna happen. And that is the why that is gonna happen. And that is how I need your help and how important you are for me to achieve that. Because if returns spike, if people get more questions and can have answers, if we don't pay our partners or our credit card has no limit, there is so much involved on those small things that make such a difference when you're trying to scale and reach. Because when you're on BFCM and things are green, hopefully things are always green on BFCM, you're going to scale, you're going to push, and you need to have that bandwidth, that kind of support from your team. Otherwise, you can't do anything.
You touched on the why a couple times here. And I also heard you say it earlier when we were kind of opening up. You said the why comes from marketing. Yeah, I think I heard you say that. So, so you're helping build Vessi's why?
I would say so. We are always questioning if Vessi is a marketing brand or if it's a product brand. And there is an interesting balance, because without the product, I don't think we could be very far. But without the marketing, we wouldn't be there either. So there is always that, and it's not a struggle. It's just an interaction between marketing and product, trying to create concepts kind of together. And even as I mentioned to you, the first product we saw, the view 0, not even view 1, was something quite different from what the original version came to fruition. And that was thanks to that collaboration, that integration between the two of us. And yeah.
Okay, so that's a 3-year. I think it's a 3-year period. I'm trying to remember. 3 years.
Yeah.
You're doing like $50 ad spend, 4 people in the team. You're validating product market fit immediately, and you keep validating. You keep increasing the ad spend. You determine there's something there. What's like the size? You said 22 people. Like how? You don't have to give some exact numbers, but it's like how much have you guys grown in that 3-year period?
So we would be now in a mid-8-digit range, I would say.
Mid-8-digit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stealing mode right now, trying to grow as a brand, and as not as a product anymore, trying to create more variety. Some people were saying in the comments, in terms of the weekend shoe, that was our latest launch, was 2 months ago, and it was incredible. We tried to change the way you launch products as well. We're trying, because we're still small in a way, we allow us to innovate and break things a little bit and try again and reinvent that. So we were able to create a few different experiences that I don't think we could if we're big and inflated, like bureaucratic in a way.
Gabriel, I have a question. So you were talking about your first BFCM and how there was a lot of stuff that obviously didn't go super well, but there was probably some things that went really well just because looking at how you've scaled. Looking back, I know that you were talking about just the communication between the different people was a big one, but looking back, what was kind of the biggest kind of barrier you guys ran into? Like logistics. I know a lot of people get really nervous if they're, they do an ad and they're like, well, what if we get too many orders? How do we fulfill it? Or what if we get no orders and that sort of thing? What was kind of your biggest barrier?
I would say initially was a bit of an understanding of scale. And of course, I'm totally with you on that in terms of inventory. It's been a challenge. And every time I talk to people, they say, yeah, but that is a good challenge to have. I'm glad you have problems with inventory. But it's not quite like that when you have customers and you're trying to build a community and you want to make sure they are being delighted. So that is for sure one of our core issues in terms of predicting demand. But even now, COVID completely changed the game, and everybody knows that. We're expecting, okay, we're going to get a slowdown in terms of revenue and demand, and we were able to spin things so fast that we actually had an early Black Friday in March, or late March, early April. So how do you talk to logistics and production about that? There is no way that it was an opportunity that we wanted to navigate and not waste, sort of thing. But back there in the BFCM 1, I think even an understanding, and that sounds very unprepared, but that was the reality at the time, of pixels. The way the pixel was working wasn't very optimized, and by that I'm talking mostly about Facebook pixel. That was our main driver on that side, and was double firing, and then the revenue was not pushing properly. And so and then we created landing pages, and then, but you have to add the pixel to the landing page because that is not on Shopify. How you do that? And that was like on Wednesday before Black Friday. So yeah, it's a bit late in the game, but we figured it out. And so those small things are very important now, at least. And that is one of the things I want to say. It's not really about the size of the business, but about the foundation. And there are a few things that now I know that I didn't know at the time, in terms of having a proper process for our email foundation, another process for our pixels and how that fires, and understanding that a bit. And I'm not talking about 10 pixels. I'm talking about the 80% of the driver that is usually for us: Facebook, TikTok, Snap, and Google. That is the bulk of our and Pinterest, but but that is the bulk of our traffic in terms of page. How is that actually firing? Is that firing as I want? Am I tracking the things I need to track? So that is more of a foundation work that we do now, and we redo it every time we're getting close to those spikes of traffic to make sure everything is on top of it.
I love that you kind of mentioned, like, sorry, Ivana, just bringing it back to the basics, just like making sure you have all your ducks in a row, because you can start thinking about kind of the big picture, but if the little things aren't working, then kind of
what a good resource for knowledge if anyone has questions for Gabriel, because you were there from the very beginning. So you were there building that initial foundation, and then you saw the pressure get pushed on that foundation as things were scaling up. So you probably learned a lot through that.
Gabriel, I'm curious. So you said you guys launched that weekend line about 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
So what is that process like when you're launching a new line? Do you time it, specifically, like this one was, a couple of months before we kind of have this big holiday? Do you plan your launches around that? Or do you just, kind of like, I'm curious about that process and how you come up with what you launch, because, I'm sure you draw inspiration from somewhere.
100%. There is we call a hybrid approach, where we put together in a room, literally, product and marketing. And then I have my whole delusion in terms of dates that I want to approach, and the dates that I see, that we as a team see, not myself, but we as a team see as dates that we could have products related to it. And then comes product with, so those are the new technologies I'm bringing this year, and those are the things we think we can add on top of it. And then we try to create that calendar that has, okay, that is when I can deliver this. Does that work with your dates? Should we push? What should we do? And then that is kind of how we collaborate in terms of getting that. For the weekend specifically, that was the case. We wanted to launch something. We saw the feedback from the community in terms of different styles that they wanted. And then we basically went with that feedback to product and said, hey, our shoes look very sporty in a way. They're very sporty-ish. So people are saying that they want more casual look, that they can use it at work. They can go get out at night with it. Okay, let's actually, and then product did an amazing job of, okay, how can we reconstruct our product? Because the way it was constructed was very specific to that shape that we had. How can we completely change that and actually create a new shoe? And they brought the weekend, and we wanted to launch before any major event like BFCM. Of course, we didn't expect COVID right in the middle, but that was part of the game. And then we decided that for that, because we heard someone saying, again, I spend a lot of my time in two places: Hotjar or Mouseflow, if you want a replacement, looking at videos, looking at recordings. That is very silly, and some people think it's a waste of time, but I tend to grab my lunch, grab something, and just watch recordings. Usually drives you crazy. It's not the best thing when you're eating, because you start swearing. But at the same time, I could see a lot of problems with our website, or problems with my flows. Oh, that thing is not opening, or they're trying to click and that doesn't actually generate anything. So a lot is on that side. And then on the other side is reading reviews. I tend to look more for the negative than the positive, but I was trying both. And then I saw someone saying, oh, you guys are the Tesla of shoes. You're innovating, you're in terms of being eco-friendly and being better for the environment. And I love that. And we heard that a year and a half ago. So we tried to do something for last Black Friday and we couldn't do it because we didn't have the time. And then one of the discussions we brought to the team, what could we do that has a bit of a Tesla approach to things? And a lot of crazy ideas came out of this. One of them was the launch. How does Tesla create their launches? They create a pre-order kind of line where you get a very small portion of your product. That is, in Tesla's case, $100 for you to get, let's say, the Cybertruck. And then we started discussing how can we make that a reality for us. And Vessi has a very strong community approach, and we have been trying to help as many communities and organizations we can. So that has been a strong one for Vessi. So how can we try both? And then we did the whole pre-launch idea that it was a $5 pre-launch. So we would reserve your seat or reserve your pair, not your seat, your pair, with a $5 pre-launch. And that $5 would be donated to an institution. And that is amazing from a concept standpoint. But we're not a subscription website or e-com. We are a direct to consumer, and we had to restructure our whole order process, funnels, checkouts. We use a tool called Recharge to create a subscription model for us and completely change payment gateways. We have a ERP in the back end, how to tie that to the ERP. So there is a lot going on, but we ended up making that happen. And the results were like my conversion rate increased. Overall, if you get my regular conversion rate, at least 100% for that specific promotion. So I doubled my conversion rate for the launch.
Wow.
And there are a lot of stats that we're still trying to figure it out, because now we're getting people are receiving their product and then trying to understand how they like and so on, return rates and stuff. But for the company, it was a success.
I honestly love how much you guys listen to the customers when you are in your creative process, because that, from a customer standpoint, it's like, okay, these guys, they're listening to me, they're, innovating things for me to meet my needs. And of course, you as a customer want to come back because you feel heard. And I think that's so important. And like, I applaud you for that.
I've been like tossing my arms up a few times, like waving them around because I'm getting so excited. It's because like, and I'm sure there's like, we know that there's businesses from all around the world tuning in right now, and businesses are at different stages. And one of the things we often caution businesses on is spending too much until you validate your product market fit. Like, you don't want to get too much inventory. You don't want to spend too much on ads until you validate your product market fit. Like, do you have a product that your market wants? And how are you presenting that product? You have to craft the right messaging, craft the right offer. And what better way to determine all of that than listening to your market and actually hearing what they are interested in and what pain and passion points they have. And just to recap, for anyone who doesn't know Hotjar, we use True Conversion on all of our e-commerce campaigns. So it's very similar to Hotjar, but it's a heat mapping tool and session recording tool. So you can see where people are spending time on your page. And really, as a store owner, you want to guide them to like a purchase. So you can remove things that are distracting, or you can discover things that they're more interested in. And so that was one tool that you were using to listen, Gabriel. And I think, of course, like the fact that you not only listened to the testimonial about the Tesla, but then owned it and like doubled down on it and actually like went down with their the payment, like pre-order payment model. That was fantastic. And it's really exciting to hear that. I'm like, my mind kind of went when you went through that story.
Yeah, and I must say, in terms of reviews, and the feeling is always that we're not doing enough, because thankfully we get a lot of reviews positive, but the majority is always positive, but looking at the negative as well and trying to improve that. But even for the ad side of things, where a lot of my content comes from reviews. So it's people saying how they use the shoes or how impressed they were, and quotes. At the end of the day, I still get quotes from it all the time. So leveraging all those to create our copy or to simply get that piece of content and leverage that on the ads later, that is gold. So there is, of course, a whole marketing strategy behind that. But on the execution side, that is our main source of inspiration, to say the least.
Awesome. Yeah, I think when we kind of think about the whole customer journey, someone discovers you from an ad, they show up to the website, they buy for the first time, now they own 3 pairs and they leave you a review. So they kind of went all the way from like just hearing about you to a first-time customer to a repeat customer to vouching for you. And yes, you get to use those testimonials in your emails, on your landing pages, in your Facebook ads. So like what better way to power your campaign than advocates, people really happy to like boast about your brand for you, like some of us in the chat we're doing here already today.
Yeah, and to be honest, and I do think it's really important to have great copywriters. We're still a very small team. From those 20 that I'm saying, a very few are marketing still. And just by using those things in all the touch points that you just mentioned, you actually cut a lot of the necessity of a lot of copywriting, a lot of brainstorming or external agencies to give you insights. Just listen. Of course, I do think we still have tons to do and get better, but just it's free marketing right there.
I was going to say, so speaking of reviews and testimonials and collecting all of these things, we all know how important they are for, to have on your product pages. And as Scott mentioned, social proof, emails, everywhere. I'm curious about how you go about collecting them, what tool you use. Do you have a strategy on how you collect your reviews? Any kind of insights you want to give us about that?
Of course. Yeah, and we have been in a journey with reviews, to be honest, since day one. I think we were using review from Shopify, and then when we started getting the first Kickstarter reviews, and then okay, we need a bit of more robust platform, and then we moved, and now we are using a platform called Okendo. We have been with them for not long, I think 3 months now, and the reason why I switched to them was a few things. One, we also use Klaviyo, that is our email marketing platform. And Okendo and Klaviyo, they get along really well. So I was able to create some segmentations that are simple, like people telling their size, or people telling a few things you can ask. You can ask questions basically during the review process, and then put them into buckets. And then those buckets create new flows. So you know how to interact. For example, we have a few communities around Vessi. One is nurses, teachers, dog owners. We know those pockets already. So we try to identify there as well. So we ask why you use your shoes for. And some people say to commute, to walk my dog, because I'm a nurse. And once they segment that, we put them into different flows that create a bit of a more customized journey. So we're going to talk and give examples and showcase the product on that environment. So that was one of the things. And then the ability I have, once that is done, to get from Klaviyo and send to Facebook into creating custom audiences, it's also gold on its own. So creating that journey was very, very important to me and to the company. And to finalize, because I think that was also a game changer for us, we're working the reviews now differently. Before, we were noticing that when we asked for a review, and let's say you had a complaint, you would simply, the flow was you were going to leave a complaint and we were going to address after you leave the complaint. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we're trying to do now is to actually change that. So if you have a complaint, let's make sure we address that even before. And it's not about the rating. It's about we being proactive in terms of resolving a problem. So now we change that. So if you leave a review between 1 and 3, we're going to know the why and make sure we can address that. And if you still want to leave a 3-star review, please feel free to do so. But if it's a problem you have, we want to make sure we address it. And then on the other side of things, there are a lot of places that you want your reviews showing up, not only on the website. You want those reviews showing up on Google, showing up on many different review websites out there. And with Okendo and a lot of other platforms, but I know Okendo does that because I'm working on that. I want to make sure I distribute those reviews in a certain way that is interesting for the brand. So I want to make sure Google is getting populated with reviews. Trustpilot is a big one, just because they rank really high on SEO, so that matters to me. So making sure I distribute that, it's important for us as we grow. So that was a big one too. A bit of a hack around things, because you have to custom build a bit, but it's not really hard.
But for any of the reviews that are like the 3-star or less, do you leave those on your product pages and address them there? Do you remove those? Like what, yeah, I'm just curious about that.
So because of this process, a lot of our reviews are not actually even happening yet, because at the end of the day, what they want is their problem addressed. So they don't go to the end where because a lot of times the negative review, if it's not to solve a problem, is to hurt the brand, because people are very upset. So by doing this flow, we're actually avoiding a lot of that. But if you still want to leave a review, it does go through and every platform has that. It's not a filtering, but it's basically a management. You're going to see what the reviews are, and then that gets published. But yeah, we are not a 5-star all around product. So we understand that, and you can see the ratings reflecting that too.
Well, and I think sorry guys, I'm like hijacking the conversation,
you're good.
Tiny video, but one more question, because it kind of ties into the segmentation you talked about. So you said you have like your segments, which is your nurses and, people kind of like, I guess, based on like career or like lifestyle or what they do. Do you segment your list in any other way? Like, do you have, like say like a VIP segment of your, frequent purchasers and big spenders? Do you segment anything else?
We do, and a lot of that is on Klaviyo. I would say the big majority is there, and those are you nailed a few of them. So VIPs, we have unengaged customers that are as important as engaged, and then I can talk a little bit about how we tackle unengaged if you guys want. And then we have high purchasers, so high ticket, so people that buy more than a shoe or more than 2 shoes in a certain period. We have all of those different countries. I break down provinces as well. And we have a whole strategy coming out now where the reason for that breakdown is because our product is so weather dependent. It's not that people, when it's sunny, won't buy, they do. But we know you're feeling a pain point when it's raining or it's snowing. So we want to make sure we know that, and you have you into buckets, then we can talk to you when those seasons come. So we do all of that. And then of course the community clusters that I mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy to hear how much you're segmenting, because that's something I always harp on about too. It's like, no, you have to segment your lists and speak to them differently. And of course for you, obviously geography, weather, that's going to be huge, and maybe one day if you guys come out with like a waterproof boot shoe, you can, we can wear it in Alberta a lot too.
We have a perfect question. There's you answer this, Gabriel. Okay, we have a perfect question. I was wondering about the boot too. As it's snowing here, I was like, I have that pain point. But we got a question from Jason Lee. Jason, how's it going? Good to see you again. Jason said, would love to hear your thoughts on speaking to unengaged segment as we're heading into BFCM.
100%. And that has been one of the things we learned from BFCM 1. We improved on that BFCM 2, and hopefully now I'm going to do even a better job. But it's basically removing people, and it really depends on the platforms you have or the tech stack you have. In our case, again, Klaviyo for that. But there are so many, and they all do the same thing in different ways. So we get people that are unengaged. Let's say they didn't open the last 7 emails. So they go to a bucket. You can also measure website activity. So we're going to get also crossing that reference to make sure, okay, they didn't visit the website in all this period as well. And they're going to go to a bucket. And that bucket, I use that in a few different ways. First one, I'm going to plug that into Facebook. That is automated into Klaviyo. You can create a dynamic relationship, I would say, between the two. And that audience will automatically update once more people come through it. So I would retarget that, or target in this case, with a specific communication for that niche. Why? Because they're already customers, or they are people that already know the brand. So depending on your tone or brand tone, you can actually make fun of it. We miss you. There are things here that why you disappeared. Where are you? And you can play with that. So we do that as well. And the other thing is you can export those emails, also add to other platforms. And then just finalizing Facebook, because I did forget something here. We try to get them into different touch points, because some people are not email savvy, even though we have their emails. They are more on the phone. They're more on Facebook. So another thing that we are doing this year is trying to increase the number of touch points we have with you. So I want to get your phone number if I can. I want to send you to Messenger if I can, and then we use a platform called ManyChat. And then you play with those and trying to increase that big umbrella of touch points we can have with the customer, trying to get them there. Because what we learned is, because we get complaints, and that is an interesting complaint. We get complaints when people don't get our emails, or they don't, why you didn't send me this VIP deal? That is the problem I want to have, like people that really want us. But at the same time, sometimes the justification is because it's been 5 emails that you don't open, and I don't want to bug you. That is a bit what it is. So trying to increase those touch points where they want to be met, that is a big one. So we have been doing a lot of that. And then, of course, getting those emails, adding to other platforms as well, such as Pinterest, Snap. Those are the main ones that allow email lists as well. And Google, of course. And Google and YouTube also is a big one for us in terms of retargeting. So trying to get people back there if they want to forget us a bit.
Awesome. That was like, whew. I knew you were going to drop some value bombs here. Like, thank you, Gabriel. I just like that the amount of segmentation is always like the dream to get there. It must have been a lot of people helping you with getting all those flows made in Klaviyo. Was that like, I'm assuming it wasn't just you doing all that segmentation and everything.
No, not at all. We have a great partner. It's called, shout out to them. It's called Boundless Labs. They have been helping us for a year now into getting putting our game up in terms of emails. But and that is a lot on execution, and of course they help with the strategy. But just by doing those exercises I mentioned before, that is reading reviews and watching to recording, you start having those ideas because you see the struggles or you see what is happening there, and okay, I can build something for this to improve that experience. And a lot of times it's in emails or a text message is on that side of things.
Excellent, thank you. We have a couple more questions. Frederic just asked, what's your plan for possible shipping delays closer to BFCM?
Okay, so we have, I believe we have the same partners that a lot of you in terms of in Canada, Canada Post, UPS, and then US FedEx, and even UPS again, and USPS. So we talked to them. We use 3PLs in our case, so third-party warehouses. I think that is a bit of what 3PL means. And we talked to them in terms of that. We will change once we launch Black Friday, our policy, not change, but communicate longer dates, longer periods to just set the right expectation there. And that is for BFCM. For holiday, that is a different game because that is even worse, I would say, because then you're trying to buy as a gift. And a lot of what we are doing in terms of marketing strategy for this year is gifting, emphasizing the gift portion. Because you're not going out, that there is that whole routine that we know our customers go through, that they go out, they go to the mall and they buy bags of gifts to everyone they want to give. So we're trying to remember that they probably are not going this year. So let's make sure you buy your gift as soon as possible. So there is a whole gifting aspect. And to do that, we're making sure we're going to cut. We had a lot of discussions in terms of cut dates for that. And for Vessi, it's going to be around December 12th. So that is a lot. I'm talking about 12 days without being able to sell. Not being able, we're going to still sell it, but we can't guarantee delivery. So what we're going to do now, and that is a suggestion I would give to people if they can, is we're revisiting, and we're doing that. We have been negotiating that for at least 2 months now with local partners close to our warehouse to start doing local orders. So I'm talking to my Shopify merchant to make sure we can create a local experience for people. Let's say one of my warehouses is Richmond here in BC. So I want to make sure we can address Metro Vancouver differently. So I'm adding now tags using Shopify scripts to make sure everyone that comes from those regions, those cities that I'm creating, we're going to be able to provide for them a specific checkout that shows a 1-day, 2-day delivery. That is going to extend my window of delivery quite a bit, because I'll be able to deliver until the 21st, I would say. And it also improve experience. That has been something I've been asking for quite a while. And the team was able to pull that off. And again, BC, Canada on its own is a very important market for us. And BC is even more important because it's regionally is the place that knows us the most. Higher conversion rates, everything is greener in BC in a way, in terms of stats.
Not just the trees in beautiful British Columbia, but the customer segment is beautiful too.
Gabriel, I have a quick question. You kind of touched on this, like just the effects that COVID is actually happening on like your shipping times and that sort of thing. Have you made many changes in terms of like your ads and your marketing because of COVID? Because there's obviously so much going on.
So much. I would say in 80-90% spend. And that came from two things. One, listening to customers, and right in the beginning, like mid-March, we noticed, okay, everything kind of went off in terms of performance. The data wasn't more stable. It was never stable, but it was even worse. So trying to understand that, and then talking to customers, we noticed customers were feeling frozen. They didn't know what to do. They wanted to help, but they were locked in the house, inside. And then one of the ideas we came up with is, okay, let's find out first what that was one of our fears before. We were always afraid, not necessarily to help the community, but to put that angle into our marketing, because we didn't want to feel like, okay, you're leveraging them to just grow or generate revenue. So that was a bit also for us an opportunity. Okay, now we have to do it. Now it's a must, because we do want to help our community. So we changed our model to a choose while you pay model. And we created that back in late March. That was, we're gonna give you, because we know everybody's going through tough times, so we're gonna give you a discount, but a portion of discount that you're gonna choose is gonna be reverted for institutions. And initially it was for masks, directly for masks, right in the beginning when masks were in shortage. And we were able with our partner, because we have a factory in Taiwan, to get with their connections, we were able to get a good amount of masks right away. So we want to make sure we could let people know that. So we did the choose or pay. You would choose a tier discount. That was a very MVP. That wasn't anything fancy in terms of coding. Was just you have 2 discount codes, and you can choose between those 2 discount codes, or you can choose not to use any discount codes. So we showed that in the product page. That's fairly easy to do. And you would apply this discount code. We can track those. And based on the tracking, we would know, okay, you donated X, Y, or Z. And then we ended up donating more than 500,000 masks just on that campaign.
It's so funny.
Then since then it has been around community. And then we helped nurses. The first one was nurses. Sorry I cut you off there. But just to finalize.
I was just saying that I actually sent so many people to your website because they're like, we want to do something, we don't know what to do. And I was like, go look at Vessi. They've figured this out, and it's so incredible.
Yeah, and so one of the things that tied and showed based on the feedback we got from our customers was nurses need help. That was the first thing we heard right in the beginning, early April, late March. What could we do? And as a team, the first thing everyone said was they need shoes. They're going to work every day. They need support there. That is the only thing Vessi has as their main resource. Let's give that to them. So we created a campaign where we would donate 1,000 pairs to only nurses and healthcare practitioners. Yeah, that is a hard one. But to healthcare workers, basically. And that was an amazing success in terms of we got more than 50,000 applications. So we had to go through and we randomized and we selected 1,000 per country, US and Canada for us. And that was incredible success in terms of a few things. One, brand awareness. From a business standpoint, the cost per lead, if you have to say, if you think, okay, they're just good. Yeah, that was an amazing action in terms of doing the right thing, but also generated for us, we were able to enter a niche that we really wanted, that was healthcare workers, because we know our shoes are helpful for them. Like, you can avoid any sort of liquids right there. So making sure that was a selling point they understood. So we did that. We also generated more traffic. So that helped me create more audiences and segmentation. And that created leads right there that we were able to nurture in a different way. And after that, we did that 2 other times. We did that with teachers. Now, that was the latest one. That was as successful as the first one. And then in the middle, we did one that was for front-facing workers, people that were on the groceries. But that wasn't as successful, and I must say, because we were too broad. People didn't resonate with a lot of people because, okay, who are they? You didn't have a face on it. And when you have healthcare, you usually tie to nurses. And when you have teachers, or educators. We actually brought it up to educators overall. And those two were mainly big successes, but the one in the middle where we had to learn, you do need to identify really well who you're talking to.
Awesome. So Gabriel, yeah, we have like 13 minutes left here. So we're gonna do a couple things. Everybody, thanks so much for sticking around. I promise this shoe giveaway is gonna be happening pretty soon. So we're gonna get to the shoe giveaway. We're gonna be doing a really fun like spin to win. We have a wheel. We're gonna pick a name. Somebody's gonna win a pair of Vessi shoes today. I can't wait to celebrate with you when you are the winner. But before we do that, so we can start gearing up that tool, Vaughn. I don't know what you need to do to get that going, but we could get that going. But let's think about like a few little like Black Friday, Cyber Monday takeaways that somebody could go apply right now. Like, I know we probably could have spent 2 hours talking about just this question, but I'm thinking just like, we're moving into November right now, so it might not be a good time to start finding new audiences, right? Like it's getting kind of late to do cold ads and like find new audiences. So you're probably focusing on like retargeting people who had visited the website in the last 180 days. You're probably thinking about your email list. And I also don't want to put words in your mouth. From your mouth, can you tell us just a couple little takeaways that maybe somebody could apply, like a little Vessi BFCM hack from Gabriel?
100%. So we talked segmentation, and that only depends on the traffic you already have. So make sure you do that, and do the simple ones if you can go very complex on it. But make sure you have VAPs. Treat them differently. Put some effort in terms of doing that. Example: we are going to launch a 2-day Black Friday before Black Friday, only for VAPs, and that is fairly easy. Even on Shopify, if you're going to lock a page or lock the website, we did that last year, and then you can have a password protected website that only VAPs have access to. That is a toggle on Shopify. So that is very straightforward, and that shows to the customer that they are a VAP customer. Retention goes up, everything goes up in terms of customer relationship. So I would truly recommend that. So treating VAPs is a first. I'm looking at my notes just so you know, just so I make sure I don't forget anything. Of course,
that's a really good one.
I'm waiting a bit on my retargeting, to be honest. I have been keeping, and I try to keep certain ratio in terms of prospecting versus retargeting. Our ratio currently has been a 70-30 ratio in terms of prospecting versus retargeting. That has been my ratio so far. It was 80-20 before, getting closer, 70-30. It's going to get to a point where we won't switch things, but it's going to be close to a 50-50 or even more, maybe a 60-40 once we get to our main deals. And that is just the reason I'm not scaling that now in terms of retargeting. My best offers are not there yet. So why am I pushing so much effort in terms of investment more than anything into something that is not as attractive as the offers I know are coming later? But we are going to start our Black Friday on November 6th. And then we have different modules, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then we change the conversation as it goes. We try to tie it to also different dates that are happening, Singles Day is happening. There are a few other days happening in between. So making sure we're top of mind for those dates as well. That is important to us. And then, of course, we have VAP Black Friday. We have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Black Friday weekend. And lastly, we have, because we are so community driven, we have also Given Tuesday. So those are, it's basically a bit of our calendar. And lastly, just to wrap that up in terms of things I would strongly recommend if you guys are on Shopify, look at how many dynamic checkouts you have available. Make sure you have all you can. Dynamic checkouts are a simple thing to set it up if you have that feature enabled, but it helps so much in terms of the flow to facilitate things for the customer. And what a dynamic checkout means is Shop Pay, that is Shopify, Apple Pay, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, PayPal, making sure you have that one-click thing, that's stealing from Amazon's idea, one-click purchase in a way. So making sure you have that. And we leverage a lot of scripts. I mentioned that before. So a lot of my promotions are going to be tied to that. So you add 2 things to the cart, you get a dynamic or a gift or a discount or something. Then that is usually something that I don't want the customer doing it. I try to remove that barrier and do it for them. And that is what scripts help me do it.
The dynamic checkouts, they really get me. My computer knows all my credit card information. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Next thing I know, I'm like, oh, shoot, I just bought something again. Definitely.
We just had a bunch of questions. Everyone's obviously loving the value that you're providing today. So we still have like 8 minutes here. Let's see if we can get through a few of these. We're going to be gearing up that contest, but everyone's obviously sounding really compelled by what you're saying. I know I am. I think you've given away a lot of really great tips, and this is recorded. So if anyone wants to re-listen to this and map out your whole strategy based on what Gabriel's saying, you could do that. So we have a question. Abdu asked 2 questions, and I think one was about Vessi and one's about like the season right now. So let's talk about the season one. Is the election affecting your sales or ad costs right now? That's actually a common question, and we don't need to go too long into it, but maybe like a little touch on it if you noticed anything.
So 100% CPMs. So it's hard to attribute only to elections with so much noise happening, but definitely elections. And there is actually a way, if you're very into Facebook and spending a lot there, there's a way you can track the presidential candidates spend. So you can see how much money they are dumping on it. That helps sometimes if you're seeing something very odd. But our CPM skyrocket doubled. But we knew that for a while. We knew that would happen. And of course, there are a lot of other things happen. We had wildfires happening in the West Coast a couple of weeks ago. That also completely changed the behavior of our customers. We have a heavily West Coast type of customers. So we noticed that too. There's COVID, there is noise. Everything that generates noise increases cost because it's more people fighting for that feed. So 100%, we did see an increase, but the way we're trying to overcome that, there are a few. One is trying to now, since we knew elections were coming November 4th, so for a while we have been increasing prospecting. Remember I mentioned the ratio? That is the reason, because then I can get those people back. And as I'm bringing people in, and I know a lot of them won't convert, the majority won't. So what else can I do? Maybe get their emails through pop-ups, their phone number, notifications is something I've been trying to put on, but it's been a while. Flavia and I have been back and forth about that, but that is another thing. So trying to make sure you get something from the customer once they visit. That has been a lot of my effort. And then the last one is on social as well. So we have a whole social platform that is organic, that is not paid. So trying to engage people there and overcome that noise through, one, we have a Facebook group for our customers. 2, we have our Instagram, and so we try to do contests. We try to keep that going. And the reason for that is not only because we want to give shoes away, is because you can retarget those people. So there is a whole re-engagement list from social that you can target. And more you have, bigger that audience, easier for Facebook to get them, and cheaper it is. So if you can inflate that audience with a good contest or something like that, and start retargeting them, you're going to see the benefit right away. So those are a bit of the strategies we have been trying to use to go around this crazy CPM season. And the other one, of course, market different countries. If you have the capabilities of getting out of the US a bit, like as in Canada, Australia, New Zealand sort of thing, just do it. But I know that is that has other implications.
Great advice again. Yeah, Canada always seems to see some good lower CPM in Canada always. So
yeah.
So should your, this is another question from Michelle, should your offers change, say for Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday?
I would say so. And one thing I didn't mention about VAPs is that you don't have necessarily to change the price. If you're going aggressive for BFCM, our margins are usually tight. So just the fact, if you can make sure you emphasize early bird, early access, that benefit that is not necessarily price related, that is also really, really important. And the other thing, I have a joke internally that is the supreme effect. For a long time, we were saying sorry for not having inventory. And that is reality. We don't have inventory many times. Size 7s, I was looking at the comment, is definitely the major one. We never have size 7 or size 5 for women. We know that, and we bring as much as we can, and we run out. So for a long time, we said sorry about it. And then I started saying to the team a lot, you think Supreme says sorry when they sell out? It's the opposite. They build hype on top of this. If you want, be the first. We're going to give you that benefit. Come first, get in line, sort of thing. And hyping that up has been something we have to still change. It's not something we do really well, but something that I'm trying to improve. It's actually a good marketing angle if you can play that properly. So making sure you get that early access and playing that with customers. And then answering her question in terms of offers, at least change a bit the angle, because people are going to get blind with so many emails and pop-ups, and the internet's going to explode more than anything because of everybody's now online. So make sure you change things a bit. Sometimes a different collection, just add a different collection to it. Change the offer in terms of a bundle. Vessi will do bundles this year. And one of the things I mentioned last time that I was here, and that helped us a lot, our offer was tied to a gift card. So we gave you would get a discount for sure, but we would also give you a gift card for you to use in the holiday season. That also generated a lot of repurchasers. So we would give to people 20, 30 bucks, and they would actually come back and use for gifting. So you create a bit of a good cycle of repurchases right there. And that, again, you can set that up using, we use Rise.ai. I think that is their name now. They changed it a while back. So we use them, and they use scripts combined to create that flow. And just so you guys know, we don't have any hardcore developers in our team. So that is not very, very complex to set it up. A bit of tutorials here and there, but that's it.
Gabriel, are you in our Facebook group? Because there's like lots of questions flying in here, and I feel like you're just offering so much knowledge. Well, I know it's hard to get at your hours, so hopefully we got through a good amount of these questions. But I think we're ready to do the big shoe giveaway here today. And
yes, we are. I'm hoping this will work for me. It did last time, but you know how technology goes. So what I'm going to do is, everybody that's in here right now, I've added you in a little spin to win wheel. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to spin that wheel. Hopefully my internet doesn't cut out or something else happens, but we should get an answer. We'll get a winner pop up on the screen. And as long as you're in here still, you will win your own pair of Vessis. So give me 1 second here.
I feel like we're on a game show. It's so exciting. Who's gonna win?
All right, you guys tell me if you can see my screen here. Can you guys see a wheel?
Yeah, you betcha.
All right. So we're going to give this a shot. Everybody's names that's in here is in. So let's see how this goes.
This is high tech, very high tech.
It's a free app if anybody wants to use it.
Drum roll.
Oh. There you go. Autumn. Autumn K, are you in here?
Yeah.
Is she in the chat?
Woohoo. Yeah, she's there.
Perfect. Perfect. There you go.
Autumn's amazing. I've worked with her before. Fantastic human.
Awesome.
Nice. So I think the way we're going to do this is, Autumn, I'll reach out to you. Gabriel, you're going to give me like a discount code or something like that.
Yeah.
And I will, I'll reach out to you, Autumn, give you that code. And then the Vessi world is your oyster. You can pick.
Where are you from, Autumn? Just so I know from where I have to take the code. Oh, nice.
Vancouver.
Okay.
Vancouver. And she says, I never win. I never win. I seriously been saving up for Vessi's. What I asked for my birthday. It's early Christmas. It's early Christmas here on the BFCM speaker series. So awesome.
Perfect for today in Vancouver too. You're just gonna see autumn outside in the rain playing in the puddles for the rest of the week.
User
You have to
generated
test them.
get some user generated content, turn it into an ad.
Exactly. And you guys have lots of really great user generated content. Like a lot of the stuff that when I was doing some research here on this, yeah, I mean, your guys' fans love you and they create content for you all day. So
100%.
Awesome. Major big ups for that.
All right. Yeah, we'll wrap it up on that note. Cassandra, it's so good chatting with you again. Thanks for coming and speaking with us again. I'm sure we will see each other again soon.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You bet. And Gabriel, thank you for the knowledge bombs. I'm going to go and rewatch everything and see if we can get some more takeaways out of that we'll share in the group. And just honestly, thanks for taking the time to join us.
You guys are very welcome. Any questions? My LinkedIn is my name, Gabriel Scaglia Dias. I know it's not the easiest one. Feel free to reach out there. It's the best way to connect. If you have any questions, happy to answer there. And my pleasure. Vessi.com. Don't forget that part.
Of course, get on there.
Before we leave, can I plug an event that we're doing next week that I think a lot of people would love?
Absolutely.
We're running a sustainability and business event next week, and we have the marketing or growth director from Tentree coming. We have people from Pellicase, and then a refillery. So if you've ever been thinking about sustainability and how you can incorporate that in your brand, we'll be answering lots of questions.
Excellent. That sounds like something we want to attend to.
And just before we wrap up, I'm just going to jump in here quick, let you guys know about next Friday. We're actually going to be talking to that review app that Gabriel mentioned, Okendo. We have their VP of partnerships who's going to be joining us. So if you guys want to learn more about that app and how to use it, it's really, really cool. Join us next week because that's who's going to be on.
And Abdu just asked, is it at the same time? Yes, it's at the same time next week. We'll be back here every Friday until Black Friday at the very same time. So everybody, great audience. Thank you for participating and enjoy the rest of this awesome Friday. And we'll see you again really soon.